So our idea with the Summer Institute was we would bring in cohorts that if you came from LA or Detroit or Boston, that you would come in a cohort. The requirements that the teachers would come in would be the third grade teaching cohort, it would be the sixth grade teaching cohort, it would be a counselor, and either a principal or a vice principal, because you needed the leadership of that school to buy into what we were doing, or else it wouldn't be successful. There are many models where teachers are very successful, but they're in an island. You know, they're the only one in their school who gets it. So our idea is, what happens if you actually bring in this cohort, they get the understanding and the training, and they go back, you know, potentially and be the mentors to the next group of teachers that are coming in. But at the same time, they would be able to connect with teachers from around the world, from around the nation, so that what's going on, what techniques are going on in LA that they're doing with children. If you're in Prince George's County, you can understand and network and have people that you can talk about. But the idea was to develop a teaching group that understood, that was culturally competent, and that understood our kids as they were coming in, because they were making a difference in these kids' lives. And so we decided that we would bring them in and we did it 2 areas. One at University of Maryland, where we brought in 45 teachers to our Summer Institute, and the other at Norfolk State, where we brought in 45 teachers in. And in that respect, as I said, our objective was to start changing the way our public school system, at least from the educational standpoint, looked, that we would have these teachers who would understand the children that were before them, but understand the environment that they were teaching in, and would be able to connect with other people across the nation that they could converse with. And so we think the program has been very successful. It has had its challenges, and one of the big challenges that we have is a debate whether, in fact, you can teach someone to be culturally competent. And it's a huge, or whether, in fact, they come that way. So we said, you know, we don't know. We don't have the data to tell us whether, in fact, you can actually teach it and it's effective. I mean, we've had this program for 4 years now. We've studied it. But we know that people who come from the communities in which, the economically depressed communities in which they come out of those school systems and they go back in to teach, they understand that the kids that are in that area do tend to do better. But we believe that, and at least this is what we're moving toward, is let's see where the training takes us. Let's see if we can take people who are, because quite honestly, there are folks who are teaching in our school system right now who've been teaching for 20, 25 years. They're going to be there. The idea to bring them up to speed and see if we can get them to understand the diverse student body that they're facing right now and have an impact immediately is something that we're looking for. But that's the big question for us right now, is whether you can train someone, whether they come in, and then how do you move forward. And the last thing I'll say is that we're privileged to be working with a group of folks on the other aspect, and that is, how do we increase the number of minority teachers in our workforce? What are the things we should be doing to, not only at the federal level, but at the state level? Because most of the change in this country starts at the state level. It's usually that's the experimental ground for any legislation. And so we're working with NEA and a number of groups on what we call the National Collaborative on Diversity in the Teaching Workforce, and how do we get more teachers of color into the teaching workforce. Thank you.